All right, welcome to this episode of Market Shares. I'm your host, Tony Blodgett, and today I got Andrew Gray with me, one of my coworkers, good friend, and just an all-around great guy. So, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
It's taken a while to get you up here into the studio.
Yeah, I was counting the days, but I'm up here and I'm looking forward to it. Opportunity to talk with you and be on your podcast. It's awesome.
Yeah, right on. Well, we got a lot we're going to talk about today. As you guys know, when we have individuals in here, I like to get a little bit of background story, kind of how you got in the mortgage business. But I want to really talk to you today about growth and recruiting. It's something that's super passionate. A passion of mine. And then, since you've been on board here at New American, I'm blown away at your ability to network, communicate, build relationships. And I think, your branch has added like 18 loan officers in just the last 7 months or so that you've been here. And for anybody who works in leadership and with recruiting knows that that's a challenging thing to do. And you've done a phenomenal job. But before we get into that, let's talk about kind of your time in the mortgage business. How'd you find this industry? How long you've been doing it? Just give us a little background.
Yeah, so I'm going on over 20 years in this industry now. Kind of fell into it. I started out at Mila Financial back in the day. It was just kind of started off on the base and really found that I love to network and communicate with people and build relationships. And so put in my time there. I went to several other, major banks, other mortgage brokers, been successful, been a top originator. But really over the last 5 or 6 years is where I've really focused on my growth and becoming a leader, helping other people succeed. That's where that excitement and energy comes from growth.
Yeah.
When I think back about how I became into this role, it's just been like not necessarily failures, but seizing opportunities in front of me.
Yeah.
I worked at a phenomenal company, Fairway, for 8 years. Have lots of relationships there. Helped build an office in Federal Way up to just under $500 million office. And when I took myself out of the picture and focused on the people that I serve as a leader and as a manager, that's really when things started to connect and really take off.
Yeah.
And so that's really been my mantra of how I go about things. I'm not perfect, but you learn as you go and you develop. And my whole goal is just to become a better leader and a better branch manager every day. And then as opportunities arise, try to seize the moment. Coming here to New American Funding has been a game changer for me, honestly. I think it's an incredible blessing that you and Tanya reached out. Tanya's phenomenal. The more I learned about the values, the core values of New American Funding, what you stand for, your operations, what Rick and Patty stand for, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I've worked at some great companies, but the structure, the support, everything, the platform that we have to offer, it really sells itself. So being able to be successful in recruiting, you have to have a product that you believe in.
Right.
And I will tell you right now that there's not another company I'd rather work at. It's hard to find a company with integrity, character, and honesty, transparency. We have everything here.
Yeah, I agree with all that. We're going to unpack some of that a little bit more. But I appreciate you saying those things, and I've been super impressed with you since you've been on board. I think back. I knew who you were and of you for a long time because of your outreach, because of social media, and and putting yourself out there and clearly building relationships. And so I think you're right. It's a culmination of two things really coming together, right? You've spent a long time building relationships with a lot of people in the industry. And, when you came here, I think the reason you've had the success is because when you become passionate about something and you have those relationships, and the two together, can really fuel the success that you've seen. But this is where I think a lot of people whose job it is to recruit, they may be excited about where they work or the opportunity or building their branch, but they may not have put in the groundwork to build those relationships. And there's just no way that you could have had the success that you've had in a short period of time on our platform if you hadn't done years of building relationships and outreach and staying in touch with people. And then it's just like, it's like preparedness and opportunity coming together, right?
Yep.
And so maybe talk a little bit about kind of the intentionality that you put around building relationships. Because I think anyone who's a loan officer that may want to be a branch manager someday, or a branch manager that realizes they need to grow in order to deal with this market, because let's be honest, we're in an industry that has shrunk by about 40% over the last 18 months or so. And there's only a couple ways to make up that production, one of which is to bring more people into your organization. So recruiting right now for everybody is more important than ever. And I know you kind of cringe at the word recruiting. You're like, I don't think of myself as a recruiter. And I think you're right. But like, what else do you call it? I think what you are is a master at building relationships. So maybe speak specifically to kind of the cadence of communication that you have with folks, and kind of what your outreach looks like. Because obviously you've been doing it for years. I remember talking to you, like, oh, I got this recruit. And I'm like, oh, I've known him. He's like, yeah, I've been talking to him for 2.5 years. And, now they're on board. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
It actually goes back to, I have to give my wife credit. So back when I was just a young buck loan officer, she started a Facebook page, business page, to self-promote myself. And it all started with really that foundation of, hey, I'm going to connect with people. Because as you're trying to become a successful loan officer, you have to be attractive to real estate agents and to clients. So how do I take on a persona to where somebody wants to work with me, right? It's kind of thinking backwards about how you approach somebody. So if you want to work with somebody, you got to bring them value, and you want to get to know them, and you have to invest your time in learning about them. It's the same way with recruiting. Recruiting with a loan officer or recruiting with a real estate agent, you go about it the same way. When you identify and you've done your research about a recruit, you approach it by, how can I help you, or how can I get to know you, right? And invest the first 20 minutes of the conversation learning about their family, what they do in their downtime, what's important to them, what matters. Because maybe you've connected with them and they're not the right fit for you. Right. It's an interview process that goes both ways. So being able to control the conversation by asking them the questions that promote them talking about themselves. If I'm going to bring you into my culture, you got to fit.
Right.
Because the culture is what sells New American Funding, and people walk into their office and they feel welcoming, they feel empowered, they feel energized to be part of something bigger than just them. So as they're talking about themselves, what's important to them, I make mental notes about, okay, I can touch on this, I can cover that. And it may not be an immediate growth or an immediate, oh yeah, they're joining my team. You have to start by planting the seed. So many people want to plant the seed and expect a tree tomorrow. Right. It doesn't work that way, right? It just doesn't. So when you're like, oh yeah, I've been recruiting this guy for 2.5 years, it's building the relationship. It's not, oh, hey, Tony, are you going to come work for me? Are you going to, join my team? No, it's about consistently following up and planting that seed and watering it. So right. I don't just reach out to that person twice or 3 times and be like, okay, he doesn't want to move. No, I follow up with them every month. And it's not, oh, hey, are you ready to join? It's, hey, how's your summer going? Oh, hey, you were taking a trip to Europe. How was that? It goes so far into building that relationship so that you're top of mind. When you're ready to move, it's not a hard sell. And it's a whole lot easier when you have that relationship built, because there's trust. They know that you're not blowing smoke. You've been following up. The majority of sales calls happen after the 7th, 8th touch, right? It's the same with recruiting.
Right.
If you're constantly top of mind and you reach out and you're following up, it attracts people to you, and then it just opens the door for you to recruit them on.
Well, I think you make such a good point. And it's like this, whether you're a loan officer calling on real estate agents, or, like you said, if you're looking to build your branch, build relationships with other real, you can't have the expectation that I'm going to make a sales call and I'm going to get a sale. That's just not the way that it works. What you're hoping for, frankly, is to not even make sales calls, but to build relationships with more people in the industry, be a resource, share ideas, strategies, be abundance minded, right? I love sharing strategies and ideas with other people people, even if they work for my competitor. It just shows that I care more about them as an individual and their success than I do about them coming to work for me. Now, it may endear them to me over time, and they go, gosh, that's a good guy. I could see myself working for him if my circumstances ever change. And that's what I want people to get out of this conversation, is that there's a long time genuinely building relationships. Like you said, and if you didn't say it, I was going to say it. What you do is you listen well. You ask questions and then you listen. And then when you follow up, you're intentional about checking back on the things that they told you was happening in their life. You know, it's not like, okay, are you ready now? Are you ready now? Yeah. No one wants that call. Yeah. They'll stop picking up the phone. Yeah. But if they think that you want to, you know, share what's going on, get genuine feedback about the market, so on and so forth. And then if the opportunity presents itself to work together, it just feels natural, right?
Yeah. It's evolving, right? That you don't just know somebody and, oh yeah, you're a great dude. First impressions matter, but it's truly bringing them value, building that relationship, and then the trust. The big thing's trust. Why do I have people that are loyal to me? Why do you have people that are loyal to you? It's because they've gotten to know you, they trust you, and at the end of the day, when you're building a relationship, there has to be trust.
Yeah,
you know.
So. Well, and if you are consistent with your outreach, you are going to come across someone who's like, the first day you meet them, they're like, I'm glad you called because my life's a mess and I need to make a move. I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
But you can't count on count on that happening.
Yeah. I've even had success with people that tell me no. And the thing is I don't go about it in a rude way, but a no to me means more like just not now. Right? Because there's volatility in the market. So, for instance, you take today. We have a great opportunity to build and recruit today, right? But the people that are just now starting have already missed the boat, right?
Right.
It is so important for us to constantly be talking and recruiting to people on a daily basis, building the relationship, because these windows open and close all the time.
Well, I wouldn't say you missed the boat. You just missed this boat, maybe. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you missed a great opportunity with companies closing and banks, closing and stuff. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. So why wouldn't somebody want to hear about what we have to offer?
I've talked to a lot of loan officers who love their companies, but their companies are failing them. And it's not their fault always, it's just, it's a tough market. Not every company is built for a season like this. Some companies have, done things like brought in, financial partners that have other long-term interests in where they want the company to go. And that's creating a lot of disruption. We see a ton of that. I mean, there was so many companies that made a lot of money in 2020 and 2021. And right now you're investing that money back into your business if you're going to be successful in 2023. And not everyone's willing to do that. And I don't blame them, but it is creating a lot of disruption, and a lot of good companies are either merging, they're going away, they're doing other things. And that level of chaos just creates opportunity, especially for those companies that are uber stable. I think stability has become one of the most important characteristics of a mortgage platform. Let me ask you this. What else, just out of curiosity, what else are you hearing out there that's causing people to want to make a move in this season?
Uncertainty. In talking to just regular loan officers that I come across on a regular basis, if they were successful in previous years, they're literally cutting ties with their current company, putting their business on hold, and researching where they want to go. Yeah. My latest recruit, it was the prime example. Burnt the last 2 times. Really didn't want to get burnt again. Took the last 6 months trying to find the right fit, because change is tough. Change is hard, and it's really hard when the company's going through a change and you weren't given a heads up, or maybe you were committed to going to that company and that company is actually in the process of being sold. It can really work against that company. And what sets us apart is the fact that we're very straightforward, we're very stable, very strong, and the opportunity to join a company with stability that you can be here long term. I mean, look at the people that have been here. We have branch managers that have been here 7, 8, 9 years. That says a lot. We have loan officers that have been here that long.
Yep.
There's a commitment from the company to the employee, and that can be reciprocated with loyalty. And that shows a tremendous amount of value and brings a lot of value to me when I talk to a loan officer. I go after the people that have been at companies for 5, 6, 7 years that are currently happy, that maybe just don't know about us, because I want that loyalty back. I don't go after the people that are butterflies jumping from company to company. I want somebody that can see the value of what we have to offer and say, yeah, this is for me. I could retire here, and let's go. That's my plan.
Yeah.
So
I've never seen a season in the mortgage industry where loan officers and or branch managers, everyone had a great year in 2020 and 2021. So people have reserves built up. Most people, not everybody. Some people spend all their money. But I think there's a lot of people that are in a space where they literally could say, you know what, I'm going to sit back, evaluate what's really going on, because even though we're W-2 employees, we're very much like independent contractors in that we're building a business inside of someone else's business. And if that host company that you're building your business under doesn't provide you stability, it actually reflects very poorly on the individual loan officer. And I don't think loan officers, a lot of them, give this enough thought. And I think a season like this is making them realize how much they are dependent on the company that they decide to build their business at. Because there's a lot of people who I think of as very stable mortgage originators that have really good, mature practices that are being shook into the roots because they're with a team that's kind of dissolving around them. And like I said, I feel bad for those situations, but it does make you think like, okay, it's not as easy to just say, well, if this company goes out of business, I'll just go to the next one. Right. It's very disruptive. We take it very seriously when someone's looking to make a move, because we know it literally is a sacrifice to both, your momentum. It's a financial sacrifice. I don't care who you are or how difficult things are. You're going to take a step back when you make a move. Now, if you make the right move and you get some things that maybe you didn't have, some technology, some strategies, some marketing, you could get some lift pretty quickly, but don't kid yourself. Making a move is a challenging thing to do.
No, yeah, I would say it's the number one disruptor. I get that all the time. People are like, well, everything sounds good, but I'm scared to move, or unfortunately in this market, it's a lot of, oh, I just moved a year ago. Well, the company's closing. Let's just, if you're in the business now, and with the volatility, it's a good thing to know what options are available, right? Is this opportunity for everyone to work for now? No, it's not. There's lots of great companies, but what you do is you're in front of them so that you can help them see the value that we do offer. Because moving is tough, and it's a reset on your business. And the people that, joined a company a year ago and having to reset now, I mean, it's crippling, especially in a slow market.
Well, I wouldn't say there's a lot of great companies. I would say there's a lot less than there used to be.
Less than, but
there is other great companies
going up and down. There's a big wave of, oh, everybody's going here, and then everybody's going there, and the stability of, hey, look at our history. We've been consistent. New American Funding has been consistent. And I did not know a lot about New American Funding before joining. I did some research, but the more you find out, it's like, wow, this is really like a secret sauce. It truly is.
Yeah, it kind of hurts my heart a little bit when I hear we're like the best kept secret out there. Like it's not a great marketing plan, but
no, but you know what? At the same time, when you dig in and you try to find out who we are, and I've gotten this feedback from people that have recently joined, it blows them away.
Yeah,
it truly blows them away. The more they find out about what we can do and how we can do it, and how we are able to collaborate as a team with our operations and underwriting and it is like the best kept secret. But once you're part of it, it'll blow you away.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, let's transition. I want to ask you a few other questions before we wrap up the podcast, and I'd like to ask these of people, when they come on. So 20 years now. You said almost 20 years in the mortgage business.
20 years.
I got you beat by a few. But in those 20 years, what's something that you know now that you wish you had learned a lot earlier in your career?
Humility and remembering where you came from.
Yeah.
Because there's something about being true to yourself that is better than anything else. Like, you can fake it, and you can fake it till you make it, and you can blow a lot of smoke, and you can put on a false front, but in the end, if you're transparent and you're just forthright with people, people can see that. And when you're genuine, people buy people. This is a relationship business, right? So people buy people. They always will, regardless of how technology is. And so if you're humble, if you're setting an example, if you're leading by example, and you remember that, there's always somebody bigger, better, faster, stronger, whatever.
Right.
You just got to keep your nose down, eyes forward, and just keep grinding and be authentic, because people can pick that up within 30 seconds of meeting you.
Oh, well, that's a great answer. It's almost like you knew I was going to ask you that question. You were like, he was right there. All right. So a couple other questions. A lot of people think that if you're recruiting, you're really just looking for the highest producers out there. And I think that is not the case. Describe for me, in your opinion, what's kind of the perfect recruit that you'd want to add to your branch or to the region?
12 to 24 million.
Okay.
And 24 million, that seems like, that's a great number, right? It is, in that market, they're self-sufficient, right? If they're doing 12, 13, 14 million, they're knowledgeable, they have good relationships. They're usually pretty happy with where they're at. It's the opportunity to take their business to the next level.
Right.
It's the additional tools that maybe they don't know about. I've helped take people from a $12 million producer to a $45 million producer. You want to build loyalty. You want to build an amazing team. Trust. Take somebody's business from 12 to 45, and you have so much equity with them. And they truly care for you. They're loyal to you, and they'll have your back. And it just solidifies the culture in your office. It truly does.
Great answer. I would agree with you. All right, two last questions. One, so we talk about building relationships with loan officers. What's the best way to meet people that you might want to build a relationship with? Is it do you just cold call people? I mean, do you look people up on social media, and do you have a way of connecting with them there? Is it going to networking events? Is it all of those things? Do you have a favorite? Like, if I'm a branch manager and I've kind of been a recluse, what are the steps I can take to start building those relationships? And maybe you might have missed a cycle now, but hey, there'll be another one. What should I be doing to build those relationships?
Well, it's never too late to start.
Right.
For one, right? I mean, if you haven't started, you start today. You have to get used to being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
Because that's where growth happens. It's not necessarily cold calling. I use all sorts of social media, MMI. I do as much research and try to get to know the person, so that when I do call them, a lot of people don't answer. I follow up with the text or an email.
But you do reach out to people you don't know.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
a lot.
Every
Take
week.
note on that.
Yeah, every week. And yes, there are uncomfortable conversations, but the way I look at it is, an ignorant person will always just be like, no, I'm good, I'm whatever, right? I take recruiting calls because it's about relationship. I'm 100% loyal to Tony Blodgett and New American Funding and Rick and Patty. The vision, I love it, right? So it's really identifying through LinkedIn, MMI. I Google them. I look at their Facebook page. I try to avoid, the people that jump from one company to another, because we're making an investment in them, right? So if I'm willing to stick my neck out there and make an investment, I want to know, what I'm investing in. It goes much more than just, how many kids do you have, or I want to know the person that you are.
Well, I think if you're looking to build a relationship, kind of hash it up about what's going on in the mortgage industry. Who doesn't love to talk about our industry and what's going on, especially if you're in it, and you want to hear what other companies are doing, and you want to hear what they're providing, and so on and so forth, right? Or get intel on your competitors. I mean, so I think a lot of people are more willing to have it's not a recruiting call, but they'll take a call from someone who they know is obviously looking to build that relationship to maybe someday work with them, but they also want to gain intelligence from it too. So it's not as difficult of a call as people make it out to be.
It's really not. And at the end of the day, it gets easier the more that you do it.
Yeah.
And, you're going to get those people that hang up on you. You're going to get the people that tell you, lose my number. And that's okay. That's okay. Because at the end of the day, it truly is a numbers game.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a statistic out there that, real estate agents, 60% of them are looking for new lender relationships. Right. So as a loan officer that's thinking about trying to gain more market share, if it's a numbers game, 6 out of every 10, you have the opportunity to win. I don't know necessarily what the ratios are for recruiting a loan officer, but if you take an approach from, hey, this is something of value. Are you interested in learning about this opportunity? I'm not here to just pitch you and sell you on something, because I stand behind it. Right. So, and so do you, and so does our operations. It's more than that. And if they can see the value in it, they will talk about it, and then they'll talk about their business. And then it's the roadmap that I talk about leading me to recruit them.
I didn't know that 6 out of 10 realtors are looking for a new lender. That's an interesting stat. I don't know what the number is of loan officers, but I'll promise you this, it's higher today than I've ever seen it.
100%.
Because of the reasons we mentioned. And it's not just that loan officers are flighty, it's that the companies it's unstable out there. It's difficult.
Yeah.
All right. Last question before we wrap up. What do you think is the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge that we see in today's market?
Complacency. I think that we're interesting people, right? So when things are going easy, it's easy to come into the office and wait for the phone to ring because rates are 3.5.
Right.
It's very hard to break that mold and to get back out there and do what we used to be comfortable doing on a daily basis of going to open houses, connecting with people, calling up real estate agents, going to coffee, meeting with loan officers, going with coffee. It's complacency. It got so easy because everything came easy. Loans were coming in every day. It's something to where we have to really be okay with, okay, this is the cards we're dealt. Now we have to do what we can with them. We have to get out there and pound the pavement, get back to doing the old school way, and really focus on that. And the people that are complacent and they'll weed themselves out.
Yeah.
Because this is a trend that happens, every 10, 12 years, right? It's kind of like the forest fire effect. It kind of cleans out the underbrush and then everything grows back. So the veterans that have been in this business, or the rookies that are working harder than everybody else, they're going to be sustained. They're going to be here. They're going to find success, because regardless of the market that we're in, regardless of the rate environment that we're in, there is still an amazing opportunity to grow your market share, which is earned every day. It's not given to you. You have to go out and take it. It's not just going to walk in the front door today. You have to do the things to get out there to bring in business. You gotta go kind of old school.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really an opportunity and it's a challenge, right? I mean, all in one. The reality is that a lot of people are complacent, so it's an opportunity for those that are willing to get out and make the connections necessary. Yep. And for those of you that are frustrated and challenged by the circumstances of this market, overcoming that and being willing to put in the work that's necessary, is a huge challenge.
Just a change of mindset, just a small shift, a little degree to start can have a big effect down the road, right?
Right on. Well, Andrew, I appreciate you taking the time today. I think that for anyone watching this, that's a branch manager or a regional manager or an area manager that's in recruiting, I hope that you had some takeaways from this, especially if you're someone who, because I think some branch managers got complacent too,
for sure.
We haven't focused on growth like we need to. So if you find your branch, maybe not as healthy and robust as you want, I suggest that you take some of these tips that Andrew talked about and really make it happen, because now is the opportunity to build that or rebuild that if that's what you need to do. So I appreciate all you guys. Look, as the year goes on, we're going to talk about strategies, tips, tricks. We're going to talk coaching, about what you need to do as a loan officer, what you can do better as a branch manager. And so to have opportunities to interview someone like Andrew, who's I haven't seen anyone have the kind of success that he's had in the short period of time with recruiting, and there's something to learn there. So I appreciate you sharing with the audience. And for those of you who are subscribers, thank you. For those of you who are just dropping by for the first time, please do subscribe. But more than that, let people in the industry know about this podcast, because we want to continue to bring value about what's going on in the market. Why is it happening? We want to talk about recruiting for managers. We want to help loan officers be better loan officers. And I may even have a call coming up or an interview with some operations people. So, hey, we're going to hit all facets of mortgage banking and real estate here on Market Shares. Thank you for your time and attention. And until next time, take care.